Hey everybody, welcome to another session of Urban Sensor Hack. I'm Mike Sinisi, executive editor of Make Magazine, and this is our penultimate Urban Sensor Hack broadcast. We've been sending out incredible sessions twice a week since September 24th, talking with master makers about different types of sensor usage in a lot of different urban environments. Over the past couple weeks, we've talked to some incredible makers, Alistair Allen, Kip Bradford. We've chatted with Sean Montgomery, Tim Dye, Michael Heimberger, Ian Hang, Raymond Yap, and today we've got another international broadcast coming from Barcelona, Spain. We are chatting with Tomas Diez, who runs the Barcelona Fab Lab and is also the co-founder of Smart Citizen. And this is a very incredible project that I'm really excited about. It's a recently completed Kickstarter that is a sensor embedded board that is being distributed throughout the globe to create one of the widest citizen sensor networks, tracking all sorts of data, and we're going to jump into that in just a few minutes. But before we get there, I want to make sure that everyone that's watching is making sure to participate by sending questions through our Q&A link, and also if you're on our YouTube embedded page, posting comments or questions there. We'll be happy to answer those throughout the entire discussion. We've also got our Google Plus page that's been discussing and where everyone's been sharing the projects that they've been working on with the Urban Sensor Hack project kits that we've sent out over the last couple of weeks as well. So there's been some really great feedback, and starting to see some incredible projects being put together. Thanks, guys, for posting your links and pictures. And next week, we'll have our final Urban Sensor Hack broadcast coming to you guys from on Friday, live from Chicago, just like our first one was. And in this final Urban Sensor Hack broadcast, we will be seeing the different projects that all of these hackerspaces and makers have been working on over the last couple weeks with the kits that we've sent out. So I'm very excited about that. That will be happening 10 a.m. on the West Coast, 1 p.m. on the East Coast, and in
noon.
Between, is it noon for Chicago? Noon in Chicago, and you'll have to do the proper time transposing if you're not in one of those 3 time zones. But let's jump in today's show. So as always, we've got Stuart Gaines with us, who's a longtime DIY editor. And Stuart, what have you got put together for us today?
Well, thanks, Mike. And it's really been a pleasure to work with you on this on these programs. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about citizen science, and I want to put up a quick presentation here. It really talks about the evolution of citizen science, because it has an interesting history, the term citizen science. And if you get a chance and look on Wikipedia, it really dates back to around 1910. When the Audubon Society started its Christmas bird count. And this is something that has been going since 1910, and it's still going strong, and it really is sort of the source of the idea that a citizen, a person who wasn't a professional or an academic, could really contribute to science. And I think what we're going to see today is the evolution of that trend that started in 1910. So bird counts started in 1910. They're still going today. People go out for a period of time and look at birds, and it's not completely clear that the birds aren't counting us as well. It's possible, but it's very much a field trip activity, and that's the way it's been forever. More recently, however, we've started to see something that people are calling crowdsourced science. And this is a map of people measuring radioactivity in the Fukushima area of Japan. And it's interesting to sort of start to bring in geographical points into the data that people are measuring. And it's really a huge step forward. And we've been seeing that for a while. But today, I think with Tomas's work, we're going to see something that I'm going to give the name network science to. And network science is really a combination of the citizen observations combined with the location information, but then shared on a network in real time in a way that hasn't been possible before. And that's a real step forward. So with that, I'm going to turn the camera over to Tomas and let him explain the new era of network science.
Hello, everyone, and thank you very much, Mike and Stu, for all the introductions. That's pretty awesome, and it's really good to start with such an introduction and with music, actually. So
turn off the phone.
I'm gonna share my screen and try to talk about the Smart Citizen project, which actually I had the opportunity to present as well in the Maker Fair in Rome this last weekend, which was a real success and big thumbs up for Massimo and Riccardo in Italy, because they did a great effort to bring together all the European makers in Rome for this weekend. It was really impressive. For everybody that was there, they know what I'm talking about. So I'm going to jump into Smart Citizen. This is a project that we co-founded. We developed it in the Fab Lab Barcelona. I'm one of the co-founders with Alex Posada, and actually it comes from a lot of questions about which are the tools we have to try to gather the information that we cannot see in the city, but more importantly is how we can create community from that. No? So some of the questions came also from, I'm actually an urban planner. I'm a city planner that in the last 7 years I've been directing the Fab Lab Barcelona. So I have this weird mixture between knowing about cities but actually knowing about sensors, Arduinos, and 3D printers. And right now there is a movement that is called, or a new brand, let's say, that is called the Smart Cities. And it's really it's kind of a new idea of how technology can improve our lives in cities, no? So when you think about smart city, most of the times it seems like it's a city full of technology, lights, displays, and driverless cars and things like that, no? And pretty much all the big companies and city governments agree on that, no? So we need to put another infrastructure or another layer of infrastructures in technology, making big business opportunities, delivering services for the citizens, and so on. No? So companies like IBM, Cisco, Ericsson pretty much agree in the same layers and how to identify and define a smart city, right? So this have happened before, no? So it's nothing new. We heard about this, and literally during the last 20 years, all the these brandings about the sustainable cities or digital cities didn't really produce any change. So we wonder if the smart city is going to be another brand that is not really going to improve the life in our cities, or if it could be, no? So what we call a smart city today is relying on a model that basically we are using the same 100-and-something-year-old productive model in which we are just consumers. We click on our screens, and then some people in the other side of the world is working for us for a very cheap, cost of hand labor per hour, and to deliver us the things that we like, no, the things that we want, and to fulfill our supermarkets, and in order for us to find everything. No? So that's 120-year-old, no? And so in what we have become is actually consumers or passive users of the smart cities. No? So this is an image that I like pretty much, because maybe all the consumerism could be reduced in McDonald's, and it's not that I am against McDonald's, but basically this pretty much illustrates what has happening during the last 100 years or so. No? So again, the thing is that what we couldn't see is that in what these definitions about smart cities is, which is the role of the citizen. No? What is about to deliver? It's about to deliver new services, to create new products, not only physical products, but actually digital products, and then we will just buy them and use them and pay for a monthly fee and so on. No? So the thing is that the last maybe 50 years, more or less, we have discovered amazing inventions like the personal computers or the internet. This is the Lina, the first ever transmitted digitally processed image and transmitted between two computers, no, in the foundations of the internet, no. So we have evolved on all these tools, and now we have this ability of sharing information in real time. But we wonder what we are using it for, right? And even though that we have roles to be producers of information in the digital space, we still use it at the end to produce content like the Star Wars kit, but that actually is not really changing my life, if you think about it. And it has like I don't know how many millions of views. So we still wonder, again, it's not only blaming the companies, but actually us as citizens. We are just using what we have in our hands, and most of the times to produce useless bits of information that is not really improving our lives in the city. No? So this is aligned, of course, with all things that we are all behind. No? And Make is a big channel of communicating what is happening around the world in terms of the maker movement, of Fab Labs, or the what some people call the new industrial revolution, or the third industrial revolution, which actually we are getting the tools to be producers not only in the digital world, but actually produce physical objects in a distributed way, which it makes us, having more means to become smarter, no, quote unquote. So again, this formula basically is that showing us that again, during these last 50 years, we put together computer, internet, and things. No? And so if you think about the computers and internet have been part of this digital revolution maybe until the early 2000s. And then right now, most of the people is talking about the Internet of Things. It's the second part of the formula, the Internet plus things. No? But still, where is the people there? So we think that we have the opportunity in cities. If you think about all the homes and all the people in cities, they can be producers of data and at the same time producers of knowledge. But more importantly, this can create a community that shares this information that could be meaningful for a city and could be useful to improve our lives in city. So this could be called the Internet of Everything. It's not only machines or it's not only computers, or it's not only the technical aspects, but actually the human aspect of technology and how it can create interconnected relations that can improve our cities. And this is where it comes smart cities, and that I'm going to quickly talk about. And basically, as said before, it's a crowdfunded project that actually started a couple years, actually in 2012, but the development was at the end of 2011. But basically, this project was firstly crowdfunded in a Spanish platform called Goteo, which was kind of a miracle to crowdfund in a moment of crisis in Spain in August, when everyone is on vacation. We got 200 backers that they were eager to participate in this network. And actually, we were not offering them like a final product that I will show you later on. And then they decided to be part of it. So there was some kind of interest between the people of being part of a crowdsourced network of sensors, which we thought that, okay, this is a pretty good sign, so let's continue now. Then what we could do with that first crowdfunding campaign is that we could develop the Smart Citizen Kit as it is today, and also develop in a deeper way the platform and the mobile application, which actually we use it to go for a Kickstarter campaign, and we successfully funded this year. So the project has three parts. One is the sensor kit, is the sensor board. The another one is the online platform, and then we have a mobile application. So the Smart Citizen Kit, as I said, previously developed from 2011, it started as a lot of wires, a plexiglass box with a lot of shields for Arduino stacked together, and so it was kind of a messy experiment, but that we started to understand that what is on the market and what we can use right now to capture data is not enough for what we really need. So we evolved this, and we said, okay, let's make our own shield, and let's use an Arduino and a roving networks Wi-Fi module, and see what we can do with that. But still, we were not satisfied. And basically, what we did is we evolved that, and we say, okay, let's create our own standalone Arduino compatible board, and let's just create shields based on sensors that we more or less trust, but at the same time, it can be accessible for people to acquire. No? That's a big issue, for instance, in terms of air quality sensors, because you can get very precise sensors that will be too expensive for anyone to use it. But you can have reasonable, accessible sensors in terms of price, but then maybe you have to play with more calibration, but still it will give you some data to capture tendencies and not really specific numbers, which is actually the goal of this. So this is how it looks today. This is the Smart Citizen Kit, which actually it has two parts now. It has a sensor board. In this case, this sensor board is expandable. This is a shield, basically. So it doesn't have any power of computation. The computation happens in the baseboard. I'm going to explain in details. But basically, we have an urban sensor board that contains this set of sensors that are temperature and humidity. We have CO and NO2, which are air quality sensors related with the combustions of fossil fuels, that was mainly the main pollutants in the cities. Then we have a sound sensor that actually we developed, and right now we are very proud of it. But as happened with the entire project, that we cannot find anything accessible in terms of price and reliable in terms of data on the market. So we had to create our own sensor circuit. And then we also have a light sensor. But at the same time, we can use the Wi-Fi module as a sensor. We use a solar panel that you can connect to charge the battery as a sensor, and then you can know the state of the battery in real time as well. No? So that's the urban sensor board, that is on top of this the data processing board. No? And this is more or less the parts that it has, the ICSP, as you know, to basically to load to put the bootloader on the chip that is actually an Atmega. The 34U4, 32U4, it's an Arduino Leonardo, and we use an Arduino Leonardo bootloader. And then we have the LED states that is telling you the RxTX communication between the chip and the serial port, and also the state of a Wi-Fi module when it's connected and when it's not. And then the rest. I think what is interesting here is to have like a solar socket in which you can connect a 10 to 15 watt solar panel and then charge the battery that you use to power the sensor. And then we use this this socket to connect the extra shields that we build on top of the baseboard. And in the lower part of a baseboard, we have something that is very interesting also, which is the SD card to do data logging. So you can you can basically capture data without internet connection. And you have the RTC battery actually that allows you to keep the time tracking in terms of the data that you capture. Okay, then it has just a mini USB socket that you connect directly to the computer as you use with the Arduino Leonardo. No? I have to say that most of these things that we are seeing right now are being improved, and in the sensors that we're going to ship in the Kickstarter to the backers of the Kickstarter campaign. We'll have some surprises in terms of the sensors and also the baseboard that will make it even better. So, as I said, what we have now is making a resume or what the data processing board has. Basically, we have internet connectivity through the Wi-Fi module. It's a roaming networks one. We have the time tracking through the RTC that we added. We have the mini USB connector. That's trivial, and you need to program your board. The micro SD for the data logging. Then we have a battery charger using a solar panel, or not. You can use also, like, of course, you can use as well just a normal charger. And of course, what is very important is to be connected with the super large and super amazing Arduino community worldwide. So that's very important to be able to program the Smart Citizen using the Arduino language. So, and all of this, the thing is that we want to do it in an open source way, of course. So you can just go to github.com/FabLabVCN, and you will find all these files, the Eagle files, or of the sense of what I just showed you of the board and the sensor board and the base board of a Smart Citizen Kit. So, as I said before, we got 159 backers in Barcelona in 2012. 200 kits were produced. We had 517 backers in the Kickstarter campaign all over the world. And we're going to produce, they're being produced now, 580 kits to be shipped to the backers of Kickstarter. And ideally, we will want to achieve 1,000 users at the end of this year, maybe 10,000 next year, 100,000 in 2015, and 1 million in 2016. But which is actually going to build a community what is really important about this. So part of that is, and that's very important, is relying on the platform. The platform actually is the channel for people to not only visualize the data, but actually start to create interaction between your neighbor, between people all in the other side of the world that you want to compare data with, right? So basically what you do is when you get your Smart Citizen Kit, you go to the platform. I will quickly show you how it works. And you go to smartcitizen.me. And then what basically, I actually have preloaded here. A second. So basically what you get is a vision where you are, and it's going to show you which are the sensors that are online and which are the sensors that are offline right now in the world. So most of the sensors that are now connected, and you can see, are sensors that were shipped in the first crowdfunding campaign that we did locally. And this is why we have most of our users are basically in Spain, as you see, and some other are in some countries of Europe. Okay, so the internet is a little bit slow, but basically what you do when you go to smartcitizen.me is you create your user account. I have my own. And then when your kit connected, you can just directly you go to a tutorial on how to connect the Smart Citizen Kit and get detailed instructions on how to upload the latest firmware and how to basically set up the Wi-Fi connectivity settings for the kit start to put data. And you go directly to the GitHub repository where you're going to have not only the Eagle files, but actually the firmware of the kit. You go also, I will talk about the API documentation that actually is super important. It's not only how you use the data just within the framework of Smart Citizen, but actually we're giving you the ability to use that data beyond Smart Citizen for other applications that you might have in mind. And that's connected with one of the principles of the project is that all the data is open data. Basically, you can use the data as you want because you own it. No? So we have a forum for people to discuss about the project. Right now, it's mostly in Spanish, but once we ship the Kickstarter backers kits, we know that this is going to change language, so we will need to have some multi-language moderators. And then all the project, not only the firmware or the Eagle files are in GitHub, but actually the platform that you see right now is also open source and you can download it. Huh? So that's very important. So as I said, you have your own profile. After you set up your own profile, you can just go and check. Of course, you don't see your sensors. These are mine. That I have one here at home, and I have another one in London. But actually, you can just go here. Sorry. Okay.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay, so you can just go to add the Smart Citizen Kit, and then you can, add the description of your sensor. You can name it as you want. You can say if it's indoor or outdoor, and then a feature that we are really interested, we're really developing is being able to put the different kit versions. As I say, the second kit, the kit that is coming after Kickstarter, is going to be our version 1.1. But we want to see the possibility of including even other boards that we haven't developed. For instance, the air quality egg and sort of projects similar to that. So once you are here, you will go to something. I will use one of my sensors just to show you how it works. But if I go to one of my sensors, once it's created, so basically what you're going to see is this: is the explanation of your sensor after you set it up for start to push data into the platform, and then you will be able to see how the values have been evolved during the last 24 hours, or basically how you can just change for the last 60 days or the 12 months, or even in a shorter period of time, like 360 minutes. Okay, so you can also do something else, is that use the data. These are actually the last 360 minutes in my house, so you can start to compare what happens with the light levels go higher, and how it is related with temperature and so on. No? Some other stuff that you can do with the data that it makes it useful for extra applications is actually download it. You can download it CSS, CSV, or XML or JSON and use it for your visualizations and so on. You can also go and you can also navigate and try to understand the sensors with more detail, so you can just click on each one of these descriptions, and then you can basically extract and go directly to the data sheets of the sensors that you are using if you want to know more. Okay, so another feature that we are pushing forward is adding resources by people, and basically being able of creating your own tutorials and sharing with the community, which is actually going to create this kind of knowledge layer between what people is learning about the project and about capturing data by themselves. No? So I'm going to continue time-wise speaking in order to get some kind of discussion, and that's more or less, let's say, what is the platform and what is the smart cities and kit and how they get connected. So as I said before, it's really important for us that you can use that data for something useful, right? So I think that one of the two challenges that we have right now is one is related with the use of the hardware and trying to set up a very clear installation method in which you can get your smart citizen kit. You can go to your local fab lab or makerspace and 3D print the case of a smart citizen kit. Get it in your balcony, protected against the rain. If you can do that with the case that we are designing, that would be great. And then start to produce data. And so that process is very important, because you need your kit to be live in order to produce more data and then make it more useful not only for you but for the rest of the community. And then in the other end, we have, okay, once I produce that data, once I can see it in an online platform and start to see graphs, what I can do that with? What can I do that with? What can I do with it? So basically, that's what the API comes in, and it's actually you can request data from Smart Citizen, but actually you can use it in your own website to create your own visualizations. You can create triggers to actually act in other piece of hardware, basically what is people calling the Internet of Things, but these days now. So that's the API, and that's something that is evolving as well with the project. And another part that is super important is the mobile application. Right now, we released like a beta. It's kind of a beta version that is right now is available on the App Store of iTunes. We have only Mac compatible for the moment, but we are doing the Android app. That's was one of the promises of the Kickstarter campaign. But basically, besides you being able to visualize the data as you do in the platform, we want to use the mobile application for a couple of things. One is being able to create your own dynamic maps. Means that you can pair the Smart Citizen Kit with your phone using the Wi-Fi module, and then you can use the GPS and the 3G, 4G, LTE connection of your phone to actually push data from wherever you are. So that really changes the usage of a kit, because it's not only to put it in your balcony, but actually you can put it in your bike when you go out or when you go running and so on, right? And create your own personal maps in the city. And then also we want to do some kind of usage of use other sensor of a phone, that is the camera, that actually you can relay events in the city with some levels of some sensors. But not only from weather stations that are far away from you, but actually what we are doing is when you take a picture with your Smart Citizen app, you get the closest sensors values, and you take that average, and then you can put those values on top of the image, and then say there's a lot of traffic, and then you can put the levels of the air pollutants, and to tweet that and share it with other people. No? So we are working on things like doing a Fab Lab able case design that people can just download and produce it everywhere. So we want to keep like the sense of the distributed manufacturing of a case for both the first and the second version of a kit. These are not final models or final versions. There is a lot of work going on, and they might look very, very different from what you see now. But this is something that we are just working in some ideas. And what is really important for us is not only about the pollution in the city, but actually there are other things that we want to measure in that we think that this data could be part of a smart citizen platform, which is the smart citizen is how actually the consumption of water or consumption of energy in your house, the indoor air quality or environmental quality is different. It's totally different from outdoor. Sometimes even the houses could be more polluted than the city itself, than a city full of cars. The electromagnetic fields, also pollution, that is something that we want to measure, that actually is the most invisible and maybe the most blurry data that is being tracked so far, and that is not convenient for some companies to show clear results on how they can affect our health. And related with health as well this is more like the quantified self, let's say, concept. This means that you can have in your house a basic monitoring system that you can take the blood pressure or the amount of sugar in your blood, or your heart rate, your breath rate, and then start to have like a database of how your health is evolving in relation with the environment. Or if you cannot go to the doctor, you just send a log file, and then the doctor can more or less understand what's going on with you in the last 7 days, for instance. And then another one that is related with the productive city, and this idea of being productive is having we are developing a board that is going to be including the urban agriculture projects that are happening in Barcelona. That is going to be based on smart citizen, not only to capture data, but actually being able to remotely control those, let's say, farms that are happening inside the city. So the team this is us, 7 guys that would think that, I don't know, we can maybe change the world by giving access for people, giving access to tools for people to really maybe change their cities, no? And maybe it sounds naive, but this is where we are inspired on. And yes, I think that everybody could be a sensor, and I think that when we put all that together, we can be a network. And this is, it seems like Stuart and I rehearsed this, but actually it's not. It just happened. So it's really aligned with the introduction that Stu did at the beginning, that actually the important thing about what we are doing here is not the technological challenge. We are maybe reinventing the wheel, but what is really challenging here and is actually to connect people and to connect data and basically use it to improve the life in cities. No? So I'm open now for discussions or any questions if there are around.
Tomas, I had a question. This is a really fascinating presentation, and it sort of speaks to the question of what is a network. And up until now, we've been talking about a network between the various sensors and the microcontroller, but you're actually talking about a network of people, aren't you?
Yeah.
And when you talk about that network of people, by joining this network, how do you expect people to participate? Would they purchase a smart sensor kit and then make their own cover, or would they build the kit by themselves? What are the options there for participation?
Yeah, that's a very good question, because that's something that we went into the wild, into the wild, just testing. Okay, what could happen? No? What we are realizing now is that you need to create some tools for the engagement of people. No? So right now we're saying, and that's part of I think that is the northbound and the southbound. The southbound is related with the, if you want to participate, you can acquire a Smart Citizen kit. We have an online store in this. You can go directly to the site, smartcitizen.me, get your kit, you receive it at your home, you download the firmware, you put it in the kit, and you download the 3D files, you go to your Fab Lab or use your 3D printer at home, print the case, put it in your balcony, start to produce data. That's one part. the northbound is once you start to produce the data, how you can use it for something significant for you. I'm talking on the individual level. But what happens in between is really interesting. Is that how we can actually create, communities, or how we can generate these kind of connections between people by, realizing if this like there are very magic moments in which you say you put a sense, or you go to the network and you go to where do you live, and you see that is someone else that has a kid in the same street as you are, on the same building. You are interested and see who's that. Okay, who's that guy? So that's the first question that we started to identify, and that's something that we miss now, but that we are tackling. That the programming that we are doing now is actually to include more cross relation between the users of a platform. That actually is going to create this kind of is going to tie together this sense of community into the city scale. That actually that's very, very important.
Tomas, I think this thing is really fantastic. And along those lines of what Stuart's talking about, the ability to have this open source data, people, in a sense, they don't, at this point, from what I understand, they don't even necessarily need to own the board to start working with that data and trying to surf their way into some of the conclusions that they may come up with from what's being collected.
Yeah, exactly. They can just use the data if there will be people interested just using the data from the API. So they can just go to the API documentation, and maybe they can just start to, I don't know, make whatever research, whatever action they want to do with it. So yeah, that's really true. They don't really need the board to start to play with it.
Right. But the board itself, that's one of the things that myself I get really excited about, because participating in that data generation is a really exciting idea. And just looking at this website that you guys have put together, and I'll say it again for everyone that's watching, it's smartcitizen.me. It's gorgeous, and you look at these different pinpoints of where the different smart citizen boards are on the globe right now. And then at the top of the page, as you load it, you get this global average, temperature, nitrous dioxide, ambient light, decibel level, and it's a really phenomenal thing. And I'm just imagining all of the different ways that people can start to parse this data, looking at country by country and region by region, state by state in the United States, city by city. I'd be captivated to know what is the noisiest country based off of this community database that we've got access to thanks to this product.
Yeah, that's a very exciting part, because once you get all that data going on, is you can play with a different kind of data sets, and say, as you said, you can identify which are these zones, what's happening here, and we hope that this kind of, maybe we organize the world in a way that we don't, that is more political and is not related with the environment, But what is really interesting also is that I think that we can get a resolution that any other weather company or government can achieve. Is in that granularity of data. It means that usually the governments, when you get the temperature of a city, maybe that sensor is located in a 60-meter high tower.
Right.
And basically it's in a different conditions from when you walk in the city. So maybe you have like a 2 or 3 degrees of difference, and it's not the temperature of the city, but actually the temperature of the city is its streets, its different zones, and when you get all that data together, you can identify in a more granular way. So I think that that's important, and that we cannot. It's this standardization kind of moving from the standardized way of saying, okay, in Barcelona is now 24 degrees. No. It's not Barcelona. It's like in Barceloneta here in the beach is maybe 23, and if you go to Plaza Catalunya or Las Ramblas is 25. And that may, in temperature maybe it doesn't make a difference, but maybe another type of data, it could be a really huge difference.
Absolutely. Yeah. Now, is the design of this, because I know that the data is open source, is the design also open source if someone wanted to try to assemble their own smart citizen board? Is that something that, are those are those design files available?
Yeah. The Eagle files are in the GitHub repository, so
Beautiful.
people can download it. Yeah.
That's great. And then with that, I guess one of the things I'm wondering about as well, you guys are working on different case designs right now, but if people wanted to try to design their own cases, the actual Smart Citizen, the layout design, the board, physical board dimensions, are those available with those Eagle files?
Yeah, actually, they're posted in the FabLab Barcelona website. We launched a competition of the Smart Citizen case design. We got a few submissions saying we really didn't finish that competition, but that measurements are posted in the FabLab website. One of the things that is kind of is tricky here is that even if you want to make your own design of a case, you need to consider some protections for the air quality sensors. Those are very tricky, because they need to get like a micro atmosphere, and maybe you want to use some kind of micro perforated material in order to keep some kind of airflow, constant airflow inside the case that you are designing. Because if these sensors they get affected by direct air, the values they just go crazy. So that's it has to be something between the cool design of your own customized Smart Citizen case, but considering some stuff that is going to keep your data trustable, right?
Right.
Because that's one of the key issues about what we are doing is how you keep calibrated data or trustable data. So that's also interesting.
Absolutely. No, and that's a good point too, because it's these sensors they are sensitive and highly scientific pieces of equipment.
Yeah.
And, it's great that we have access to them now,
Yeah.
but they do need to be treated appropriately. We've got a question from one of the viewers by the name of EST000 Dog. He's asking if you see Smart Citizen as part of smart home technology.
Yeah, actually, is compatible with most of the people call the smart home. But it's the same analogy that I did with the smart cities, smart home. It doesn't mean that you have things that do things for you. It's actually how you use technology to make things to do things for you. No, you know what I mean? It's not by you but for you. So yeah, it's compatible. I think that once we have this ecosystem of, and maybe we can measure indoor quality. In the environment quality, you can actually program your windows to open when the value of the temperature gets this high, or when the CO2 levels. Like actually CO2 is we produce CO2 when we breathe, so we increase the levels of CO2 in the house. So we can say when this level gets high, open this little window in order to make the air to flow. So these kind of things can be integrated, and also the part of metering, the energy metering, and also the air consumption metering that we want to develop is related with big companies like to call smart home. Yeah.
Perfect. That's great. Yeah, with the API data available, I'm sure that people are able to get creative with some of the things they can start working on. Finding various ways of integrating things together. Saw a great presentation here in the office last week with Alasdair Allen and Marshall and Dr. Marshall and Carl Malsberg with their new the Thing System project, which is a new system that is aiming to help integrate all of these different connected devices into one constant platform, which is really something that I see a lot of use for. But something like this, with the API data being available, could be an easy port for that to get pulled in, and then suddenly your Smart Citizen can help tell your Tesla car to roll its windows up when the rain starts coming down.
Exactly.
So I don't want to get off topic for long, but just I think a lot of our viewers would be interested in your experience with Kickstarter and how you were able to raise money, and what was that like, and becoming successful with that?
Well, I think there is not like a formula, even though that you can find a lot of blog posts about how to be successful in Kickstarter and so on. So I think that it's what I said, that we had this first crowdfunding campaign that we did in Spain. It was a miracle, really. is in crisis. People spending, more than 100 euros in getting a sensor board when most of the newspapers were saying that, the unemployment was nearly 25%. And people when in Spain in August they really go for vacations, so they don't even maybe get to the internet. And so we got it. So we understood that there was a message there, and there was something that people wanted to be part of, and there is something that was missing. So we understood that there's something missing in this field, and it's actually having a complete ecosystem on between the hardware that you are using, make it accessible, understandable, and also attractive to people to play with it, right? So I think that's the first point is understanding what is missing, but actually it's not from a study of the market. It's actually from what do you feel is missing, and then in being engaged to how you can solve that missing part and believe of what you're going to do, and then you need to have some friends in some. You need to have some good friends like Massimo Banzi or Stuart Gaines to help you to spread the word around. So that's really helpful, basically. And I think it helps us a lot. I mean, for instance, when Massimo did a couple tweets of a project, it was reflected automatically in the backers, the amount of backers. So it's really important to be well communicated and try to create strong networks of people that is actually sharing this kind of idea. So I think those are the tricks, and then you try to do a really cool video, and try to keep it natural and not that fake, and just being just transmitting the things that you believe in. That actually is what makes you run a Kickstarter project.
So the Kickstarter that you guys ran, it looks like it was being put through by Acrobatic Industries out of Pasadena.
Yeah.
What's that collaboration about?
Well, Acrobatic, we include Acrobatic in the latest development of a project, and actually that's also like an agreement that we did with Acrobatic in terms of being the distributors in the US of a project. So there is this limitation of running a Kickstarter project from Spain. You need to be like a US-based company and things like that. So it was something that we kind of worked together with. It's a very new company. Actually, this is the very first project that they actually kickstart, and so we say it's like a win-to-win thing. It helps to boost Acrobatic, but it also helps us to be in the US market, and also something that I can announce now, and it's coming in the future boards, is that we are going to be included in the Arduino program that is called Arduino at Heart. I don't know if you heard about it. So the Arduino Heart program is basically going to support Arduino projects that they are not necessarily use an Arduino, but they are Arduino compatible. So the boards that are coming out of Kickstarter will come with the Arduino logo and will be part of it. And also we are making some boards to enter in the distribution stream of Arduino.
That's fantastic. Yeah, congratulations on that.
Thanks.
So what's you had also mentioned that there might be some surprises with sensors and with the next generation of the Smart Citizen boards. Anything that you're allowed to say, or is it all top secret?
No, there is nothing top secret. What you will see in the Eagle files that are in the sorry, I'm trying to read one of the questions. Okay, so the sensors that the Eagle files that you will find in GitHub, they will have this other version of sensors. The new ones, basically what we are doing is we improve the sound sensor circuit, which makes it more sensible, actually more sensitive, but it's really, really cool. Like we can get down from 30 decibels to 120. That's really, really good. We changed the encapsulation of the CO and the NO2 sensor to SMD. It's surface mounted. The temperature and humidity sensor is actually now an STH21. It's really, really good sensor because it gives you directly. It's a digital sensor. It gives you the data through I2C bus with not any translation, because the sensor that we used before, the DHD, was a little bit messy.
Okay.
And we are using a light sensor that is not an LDR resistor, but actually it's a sensor that gives you values that you can measure light. So that's some of the improvements, and some other in terms of optimization of the circuitry, that actually the reduction of noise in terms of when you charge the battery and things like that. So it's big improvements.
Great. Very nice.
Tomas, on one of the questions before, we got about 10 more minutes. One of the questions is, can you speak a bit in Spanish in order to be understood? Because their English is not that strong.
He wants me to speak in Spanish.
Yes.
Pero not. Why should I say? I don't know. I cannot make the same talk in Spanish, but yeah, puedo hacerla en castellano. Podemos hacer una presentación en castellano en otra ocasión.
Sí. Bueno, está bien. Gracias. So the project itself, it's the Kickstarter. It really just wrapped up in June. So this is a very brand new thing that's just at its inception right now. People that want to get involved with it, they can go to smartcitizen.me.
Yep.
The Fab Lab website you mentioned for the design competition, if people wanted to get some of that information, what's the Barcelona Fab Lab website?
It's fablabbcn.org.
fablabbcn.org. Okay, and we will put that link onto the
Awesome.
onto the G Plus page for people they can click right through there and get that info as well.
Awesome.
Yeah. And then after that, what's next for you?
Now I think that we need to get some economical viability. It means that what we did right now is, as I said, we think it's still like a miracle. But what's very interesting now is that we are working with, there are two things happening that are very interesting. We are doing, this is also something that I can say, but it's maybe maybe confidential, but it doesn't matter. We are doing a deployment for, we're playing with the Eagles, so we're doing a deployment for Cisco. Cisco organizes the Internet of Things World Forum in Barcelona, and we were surprised by the really nice team of Cisco, actually. We tend to to say big companies are evil, but not all the time.
Not all
you
the
can
time.
do cool stuff with big companies that are actually super interesting.
Yeah.
So that would be a big deployment. And then I'm also I started a PhD on this subject with Intel in London, so it's taking it in another level as well, really related with the how do you create engagement out of this platform. So that's next, more or less in the very near future. But what we want to do in the long term is actually get a sustainable, not business, but actually a sustainable project. It means that we can find a way to get the funds to keep it running. We are 7 people. All of us, we haven't get paid all this time. So basically all the money we had put it in the project. And if we put our time in top of a project, then we're talking like maybe, I don't know, $500,000 or 700,000 euro project in terms of the time and resources and money that we have put on it. So I think that's important. It's not only making a cool project, but actually make it sustainable, and that you will have to deal with some of the business part in order to make it happen.
Right.
So that's a challenge.
That is a big piece that that I think a lot of people that finish up a successful Kickstarter then discover, and it's the key element to having success in the long term.
Yeah.
But I do like the way that you guys are approaching this. It sounds like conceptually it's a great project. One of the things actually along those lines that I'm curious about, if you don't mind talking for a moment, when you guys once you've got the board design finalized, your Kickstarter is successful, you're going out, you're doing 580 of these Smart Citizen boards. Who are you using to actually do the physical production of the boards?
We actually we're doing 2 productions for those 580. we're doing 30 of them in Barcelona. So we want to. That's our goal is to get it made in Barcelona. Text in the boards, and then the other 550 are going to be made in Canada. Just for logistic wise, meaning that most of the backers are in the US, and we've got really good prices, and basically actually the delivery time was very good, so that allows us to being delayed maybe a couple months and not like a year like any other Kickstarter campaign. So we will be delayed as any other Kickstarter campaign. We tried not to do it, but it's almost impossible. But we are happy. It's going to be. Yeah.
Well, congratulations again. Really exciting, and for everyone that's watching, smartcitizen.me is the website. Jump in there right now. You can start poking around, zooming in and out on the map, checking out the different points of information, and seeing how this whole thing is running. You can also, from that website, you can get into the API information. You can go to the store if you are interested in buying one of the Smart Sensor or Smart Citizen boards post Kickstarter, and then become part of this this whole project. FabLabBCN.org is the Barcelona website, and Tomas, thanks for spending some time with us today, explaining this great project to everybody.
Thank you very much for both of you for inviting me, and that has been a pleasure to share it. So.
Yeah, fantastic. So for those of you guys who are watching, one more time, next week on Friday, 10 a.m. on the Pacific Coast, 1 p.m. on the West Coast, and 12 p.m. in Chicago, we're doing our final Urban Sensor Hack broadcast. We'll be doing an overview of all of the projects from the different makers and hackerspaces that have been receiving our kit of sensors and information. Starting to see some great stuff being posted on the G+ page. So make sure to get those posts done, get those projects underway. If you have stuff that's being worked on right now, start pulling things together, and be ready to do a little fun show and tell next week. It's going to be great. It's on Friday, so unlike these last few ones that we've been doing for this program, it's one day forward, and it will be a little bit earlier in the daytime. And until then, keep working. Make sure to post questions and comments, and we'll be happy to get to them as they come up. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Tomas. Stuart, any last words?
Just show, tell, and ask on Friday. Yeah,
absolutely.
Don't be afraid to ask. Yes.
Yeah, bring your questions. We'll be happy to help answer them. We'll have some of the master makers, and we'll get through everything. So it'll be great. All right, guys. Have a good night, Tomas, and have a good afternoon, everyone. We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.